Hey there, Ruben here. So, yeah, let's talk about the seven mortal enemies ng freelancers who want to become a specialist. And basically, a lot of freelancers, marami mga freelancers, ako na din, kasama din ako nito before, na takot maging specialist. Uh, and bakit yung tinatawag natin na, pili ka lang, so specialize ka. Yung advice na yun, hindi siya sapat, hindi siya enough. Okay, so just a quick background, mabilis lang to. Ayoko magtagal dito. I've been a freelancer and sales trainer since 2020. So, ito yung mga inaaral ko ng mga skill. Facebook ads for insurance, email marketing for coaches, tsaka e-commerce. And then web development. Kasi nakakita ko ng anime na ang astig ng mga web developers. So, nag-aaral ako ng web development and hindi ko naman siya nagamit. Branding, partially. Nung napunta na sa mga design, walis na ako. PPC, well, I studied PPC for some time. Kay PPC Maverick, to offer PPC for roofers, flooring contractors, mga nasa fence, and mga nasa, tawag dito, yung mga nag-offer din ng mga service like plumbing and stuff. And then funnel strategy. So I studied some funnel hacking then before, but unfortunately, with a lot of skills sa inaral ko, wala akong ginagawa ngayon na align dito. So far, so far. And then, ito yung dumating ako doon sa time na ang dami kong alam, pero wala akong alam. Pero actually, yung mas masakit din. Yung ang dami mong alam, ang dami kong alam, pero wala akong client. Ito yung experience ko talaga before. Medyo mabigat siya, lalo na kapag ka ma-pride ka, madami kang alam, madami kang inaral. For sure, narinig natin to advice na to. Well, you need to specialize. Kasi pag hindi ka nag-specialize, you'll end up in the low-paying, overwhelmed na generalist. Basically, generalist parang halos hawak mo yung lahat. So, ikaw lang yung lower version ng na ang dami mong ganap sa buhay. So, yun. So, alam ko naman yung sinabi nila sa akin na advice na to. Sabay na ako ng advice na na kailangan mag-specialize. Alam ko na tama sila. Pero paano? Tapos yung follow-up na advice sila sa akin, pili ka lang. Nakikita mo rin yan. Basta pumili ka lang na isa. Nagustuhan ko to advice na to kasi action-oriented siya. Ito problema. Overthinker ako. Overthinker ako. So, para sa isang overthinker, ito yung problem na na-encounter ko doon sa advice na basta pumili ka. Number one, paano mamili? It's like, anong baseline? Like, how would I pick? And then, ano yung dapat ko na piliin? It's like, pera, freedom, whatever. Like, sobrang dami ng criteria na pwede na pinag-iisipan ko. And then, what if, ito, sa mga overthinker, most likely maraming makaka-relate dito. What if nagkamali ako ng mapili? It's like, yung napili ko, ayaw ko naman talaga. Overthinkers. And if ikaw yung may skill na, probably ito yung naglilinger din in your head. So, tapon na yun ang unang skill ko. Kasi, bumili ako ng panibagong market. And then, wala. Hindi siya align dun sa market ko ngayon. Tapon na ba yun? So, some of you, pwede nakarelate ka, pwedeng hindi. Yung iba, probably hindi ka lang aware. So, i-breakdown natin ngayon kung ano yung seven mortal enemies ng mga nagta-transition from generalist to specialist. Number one is limiting belief. Alam natin to, na yung mga specialists, they are treated and paid differently. It's like they're paid way more than the generalist. And yung laging comparison nga dyan, di ba? Para, iba yung bayad kasi ng neurosurgeon sa general doctor. Magkaiba sila ng bayad. Consultation sa sa general doctor, like 500, din yan, 700, 1,000 probably, pero sa neurosurgeon, it's like libo. And we get that. We get that. Pero yung question in our head is, kaya ko ba? It's like, kaya ko ba na maging specialist? Diba, usually mga neurosurgeon, nag-aaral ng matagal yan. Ako, hindi ko afford wala akong time, wala akong pera. So, paano ako mag-specialize? Tapos, need ko pa ng 1,000 of hours na practice. Kasi yung mga yan, talagang dumaan talaga sila sa practice. So, meron silang, uh, after high school, is like they go for courses ng pre-med, then they go for med, ganyan, and then probably like residence pa, and then specialization, and then just training. I don't know, hindi ko alam exactly yung mga pinagdaanan nila, but one thing for sure, sobrang haba niya. Mahaba and tedious yung process. Ngayon, just want to tell you this na for the neurosurgeons yun. Okay? Sa atin ng mga freelancers, especially sa mga nasa digital space, sa mayabang, in my not so humble opinion, hindi mo need ng kasing tedious sa training ng mga neurosurgeons. It's like you don't need that like 10 years, 14 or 15 years of tedious training para maging specialist ka. First, you need to understand na possible siya for you. And I want to emphasize this. You need to understand na it is possible for you. So, possible siya for you. As long as meron akong proper na road. Then to add, like limiting belief. Si limiting belief, hindi naman yan talaga nakadesign to actually fail you. Hindi siya nakadesign to actually destruct it. Ang original design ni limiting belief, it is a mechanism that is developed or born, pinanganak yan and na-develop yan to protect you. Para protektahan ka sa tinatawag nga natin na future pains. Okay, maybe nag-try ka na before na mag-specialize pero hindi nag-work or may ginawa ka in the past. Probably bata ka pa, may mga ginawa ka, sinubukan ka. Hindi siya nag-work. So, nag-create ngayon to ng limiting belief na when I try something, it won't work. Or probably may kakilala ka, someone that you trust or someone na you idolize or someone na kumaga lodi mo. And then nagkwento sila na on how they do things and then it failed. Probably they told you na, nag-try ako mag-specialize pero hindi talaga para sa akin. And then you created that limiting belief out of their experience. Now, again, si limiting belief, hindi siya na-develop para i-limit ka or para i-distract ka or para mag-fail ka. Basically, ang ganap niya is to protect you. Protect you from the purpose. Limiting belief as your enemy. Ganun lang talaga sila. Parang nandiyan lang talaga sila to protect you para hindi ka na masaktan ulit. Or hindi mo ma-experience yung sakit na naranasan ng iba. And at the same time, yung protection na yon, probably, yan na ngayon yung naging outer shell or outer box that limits you to go outside. Helpful siya before kasi hindi ka na hindi mo na-experience yung pain before, pero hindi siya ngayon. So, parang imagine na para siyang outdated na software. So, kumbaga, outdated na software, it helped you perform before, pero hindi na siya nakakatulong ngayon. So, kailangan mo lang siya i-update. Kailangan mo lang na mag-install ng panibagong software or panibagong belief na makakatulong sa'yo to go to the next level. Another limiting belief, ito, common din to. Kasi ako na-experience ko din to eh. Kapag ka nag-specialize ako, magiging konti na yung pwede kong i-outreach. And mas mahirap na silang hanapin. So, kumbaga parang, pag specialist kasi ako, konti na yung pool. Kapag generalist kasi, parang millions yung pwede kong i-reach out. Pero kapag ka nag-specialist na ako, baka nasa hundreds of thousands na lang. But on the contrary, mas madali mo sila mahat kasi may actual or malapit ka ng kapatid. And then, kapag kakilala mo, alam mo exactly yung hinahanap mo, mas madali mo sila makita. So, let's say, yes, mas konti na i-outreach mo, pero mas quality sila. Tsaka mas capable sila. And mas fit sila sa offer mo as a specialist. Bakit mo kailangan ng sobrang dami kung di mo na maklose? At kung maklose mo man sila, low paying. Why go there? Okay, so yeah, limiting belief yung number one na mortal enemy ng transitioning to specialist. Second is the lack of understanding of your market. Paano ka magiging specialist? So, paano ka mag-specialize? If you don't understand your market, hindi mo sila naintindihan. Kaya kailangan mong mag-limit. Okay? So here, just because something is valuable for you, kumbaga, para sa'yo, yung valuable for you, skill mo, yung time mo, hindi siya automatically na magiging valuable para sa main market. Again, just because something is valuable for you doesn't necessarily mean na valuable siya for your market. Remember na dalawa yung POV nyo. Magkaiba kayo ng point of view. Si service provider, ikaw to. You as a service provider, you're looking at the lens ng service provider bilang gumagawa, bilang service provider. So natural lang talaga na you value your service kasi nga, you spend time, inaral mo. Then nag-spend ka rin ng money. Nag-invest ka sa courses, nag-spend ka ng time, nanood ng mga tutorial, nanood ng mga mahabang courses and everything. And syempre nag-effort ka din. Nag-effort ka to do some of the exercises, do a lot of BCS and all. It's like, yeah, I understand. Kaya nga importante sa'yo, valuable for you, yung effort, yung resources, yung time na nilaan mo dyan. At the same time, iba din yung POV ng nasa receiving end, which is your market. For them, ito yung tinitingnan nila. Ano yung payoff niya? Kumaga, what will I get once na mag-avail ako ng ino-offer mo, once na mag-avail ako ng service mo? Sabi nga, magkaiba ng POV yung nagbebenta at yung nagbabayad. So ito yung quick tip dyan para kapag nakapik ka na ng market. Okay, kailangan mo maintindihan uh, ito, yung market mo, kailangan mo sila maintindihan. Number one is, first, identify their problem. Kailangan alamin mo muna kung ano talaga yung problema nila. Value comes from the problem that you solve. Kung walang problema kang sinusolve, bakit sila magbabayad? Right? Okay, again, value comes from the problem that you solve. So, you start with the problem. Kapag meron ka ng market, nakapili ka na, tignan mo muna, okay, ano ba yung problema nila? Kasi kung hindi ka nagbe-base ng solution sa problem, nagbe-base ka sa hirap na pinagdaanan mo, magkakaroon ng mismatch. It's like, ito yung gusto ni market, ito yung binibigay mo, hindi kayo magtutugma. So magtataka ka ngayon kung bakit ka nare-reject. Second is, know the pain associated with the problem. Like, ano yung kasamang pain problem na yan? May mga problem kasi na, kumbaga, nandala sila. Di naman nila gustong masolve. Pero may mga problem na kapag ka nahanap mo yung pain ng problem na yan, yung problem na talaga nagpo-cause ng so much pain for them, hindi sila mag-aatubili na isolve them. Okay? Yun yung problema na kailangan mo. And then, pangatlo, ano yung cost ng keeping ng problem? People think na na parang, okay na isolve yung problem na yan kasi usually hindi nila nagigets. Okay, solving problem has a price. Kumbaga, pag nag-solve ng problem, may price yan. Probably some resources. Kung nag-avail sila ng service mo, magbabayad sila sa'yo. So, yun yung price. And then, ito, hindi to alam ng market mo. Probably alam nila, nararamdaman nila na yung pag-keep ng problem na yun, may cost yan. May binabayad sila para ma-keep yung problem. May bayad kung aalisin nila, may bayad din kung tatanggalin nila. Example, sa mga CEO, kailangan nila magbayad. So, they have to pay ng SMM, social media manager, and social media marketer to create content for them. So, it will cost them time. So, nagbayad sila. So, that's the price. Pero if hindi sila magbayad ng SMM, it will cost them time. Kailangan sila yung gagawa niya. Opportunity cost. Dapat may kausap na silang client, pero dahil nagpo-content pa lang siya, yun yung nasasayang sa kanila. And then, they're wasting energy kung sila yung gagawa niya. If they do it themselves. So, if you can identify yung problem, double down on that. Kumbaga nasa right track ka na kung paano maging specialist. Next, ignorance sa revenue generation mechanics ng target business. Okay. Ito, some hard pill to swallow for me. Parang ang hirap ang hirap lunukin ito para sa akin bilang bida-bida, nagmamagaling tsaka pride. Medyo matagal kong na-accept to na not all offers are paid equally. Again, not all offers. Highlight nyo na. Ay, ano nga na. I-bold nga na. Oops. Kumbaga, not all offers are paid equally. As much as I want to deny that, hindi pwede. Kasi the further you are, the more na malayo ka sa tinatawag natin na revenue line, the lower the value of the particular offer. Okay, revenue line, gonna give credits to the freelance movement tribe dito sa concept ng revenue line. So, game changer for siya for me. Thank you. Thank you, tribe. Okay. Going back, you need to learn the revenue generating mechanics ng target market mo. So, kung di mo alam kung paano sila nagkaka-revenue, paano mo i-align yung offer mo sa revenue generation nila as an specialist. Okay, ito, quick guide. Hindi pa ng quick guide. Paano sila nag-generate ng leads? Via content, networking, guesting, paid ads, organic. So, paano? Kailangan maintindihan mo kung paano sila nag-generate ng leads. You need to understand kung paano para alam mo rin kung anong klase yung mga customer or kliyente na pumapasok sa kanila at kung paano mo mapapadami yan. Okay. Second is, paano sila kino-convert yung leads? Via website ba? Call? Chat? Group? Group stage? Kumbaga, selling via stage? Selling at the stage? So, paano? Paano nila nako-convert yung mga leads? If alam mo kung ano yung conversion process nila, alam mo din kung may impact or at least may influence yung ginagawa mo para palakin yung revenue nila. Let's say, for example, mga nasa short form video creators, may influence yung video na ginagawa nila because the video that they create na nilalabas sila sa social media and sa sa internet space, it generates views. Yung views ay awareness. So marami nakakakita, marami nakakalam on what you offer. And then yung klase ng video na ginagawa mo, it builds trust. So may influence ka din pagdating sa conversion because the quality of video and the type of video that you put out sa na nakikita ng market mo. So that's an example of the conversion. And then ano yung ascension offer nila? May next level offer ba sila? May upsell ba sila? May premium value offer ba sila? May cross-sell ba sila? Or may downsell ba sila? Ito yung solid na value maximizers ng mga business. Kaya lang, hindi to usually nabibigyan ng attention. Remember na mas madaling magbenta sa customer mo na. Ibig sabihin, bumili na sila in the past kaysa dun sa mga leads. Kasi yung mga leads, you need higher level of trust to convert them. Whereas yung mga customer, ibig sabihin na convert na sila before, kailangan mo lang silang i-elevate. Basically, yun lang. And then lastly, retention. May subscription offers ba sila? May pa-software ba sila? Meron ba silang ongoing coaching? May paid support or email list subscription? Si retention, isa siyang value multiplier ng revenue na usually nakakalimutan ng mga business kasi busy sila sa lead generation tsaka conversion. Okay, so ang question, saan naka-align yung offer mo? Okay, so number 4, inability to pinpoint. Okay, number 4, the mortal enemies ng uh, freelancers na gusto mag-transition to become a specialist. Inability to pinpoint yung priority. Okay, tinatawag ko na needle moving activity. Kanina na-breakdown natin yung revenue line. Ang question ngayon dyan, saan yung main focus mo? Saan ka mag-focus? Saan ka tututok? Worse, dun tayo sa high impact revenue generating or pinakamalapit, closest to the revenue line. Hindi lahat ng business kasi ang problema nila is conversion. Hindi rin lahat ng problema nila leads. Kailangan mo lang i-pinpoint kung alin yung bleeding, sabihin yung bleeding point, saan sila dinudugo sa business nila. Saan maraming waste maraming problem, saan yung pinakamalaking problem. That's the bleeding point. And at the same time, alin yung highest leverage? Ibig sabihin na highest leverage at highest impact, ito yung, kumbaga, parang konting kibot, konting tweak, konting galaw mo, aalago agad yung system. So yun yung main focus. That should be your X factor. Doon ko magdo-double down. Hindi yung ang dami mong ginagawa, wala ka nagagawa. Okay. Once na pinpoint mo yan, doon ka mag-double down. Okay. Kasi kapag naging sobrang galing mo dyan, gagaling, malalaman mo kung alin yung actual na benchmark mo. Kapag nalaman mo kung ano yung actual na benchmark mo, makakapag-set ka ng conservative benchmark. Ngayon, pwede ka na mag-offer ng tinatawag ko na NMG. What's NMG? Ito tinatawag ko na needle moving guarantee. Si needle moving guarantee, basically, ito yung metrics. Or ito yung pwede mong i-guarantee sa kanila na, pagka nagawa ko to, I'll be asking for this price. So that's your needle moving guarantee. Okay. Yun yung one thing na tutukan mo lang. Meaning, dyan ka magbubuhos ng attention, ka magbubuhos ng focus. Kasi yun yung highest leverage at saka highest impact sa offer. So ano yung example niyan? Ako bilang sales closer. Okay. Bilang sales closer, ang NMG ko ay dalawa. Closing ng deals, yung conversion rate ko, at saka yung size ng deal or yung tinatawag ko na deal size. Okay. Ang NMG ko is at least 10% ma-convert na. Conservative to. And then, for another part ng NMG ko is at least makapag-close ako ng halagang 2.5. So, the longer or the higher I get, the higher yung itataas ko sa NMG ko, so yung needle moving guarantee ko. Kapag lalong tumataas yan, mas nagiging happy si client. And then, the weight. So, yun lang itututukan ko. Number 5, lack of metrics and measurement. Ngayon, alam mo na yung problem na sila-solve mo, alam mo na yung revenue generation mechanics ng business ng target mo, nailalapit mo na sa revenue na yung ino-offer mo, alam mo na rin yung focus mo, kailangan mo rin mag-set ng metrics and measurement or metrics and tracking. Kasi kahit pa alam mo lahat ng nasa taas, kailangan mo ring ma-measure, kailangan mo ring ma-track kung alin ba talagang okay. Or else, they're gonna see you're just another pretentious, mapagpanggap na specialist na wala naman talagang ambag sa business nila. So malalaman mo na you're making an impact if you measure. And then huwag kang matakot sa tracking. Huwag kang matakot sa measurement tracking. Kasi di yan yung evidence na nagsasabi na, walang ambag si ganito, wala kang ambag. No, it's not that. It is an indicator if what you're currently doing is working. Yan yung importansya ng measurement and tracking. Okay, they indicate kung maambag ka and kung meron ka pang room for improvement. So huwag ka matakot sa measurement and tracking. So hindi yan nakadesign para ipahiya ka. It is designed to actually become an indicator to show you what's working, what's not, and what to improve more on. Okay, so that's the importance of measurement and tracking. Second is making feedback loop as your enemy. Maling-mali to. Okay? So a lot of freelancers na gusto na maging specialist, ginagamit yung si feedback loop bilang kalaban nila para maging specialist. And then no wonder why they can not pass that line from generalist to specialist. Okay, ito yung maling ginagawa ng karamihan. Once na may metrics tsaka may tracking na, itong ginagawa nilang kalaban si feedback loop. Kailangan maintindihan na pwede mong i-leverage si feedback loop. Again, pwede mong i-leverage si feedback loop. Basically, si feedback loop, ito yung nag-input ka. So, input, dumaan sa process, you'll get an output. Yung data from the output, ipapasok mo ulit siya as an input. So, example ito, para hindi tayo magkakayaan. Okay. So, ang input mo ngayon is 30 social media posts per day. So, in-input mo siya doon sa process, nag-post ka every day, and then yung output, mababa yung response, mababa yung engagement. So, ibig ba sabihin nito, sablay ka na ng social media manager? Na, necessarily, this is data. Okay? Data to. Ngayon na nakita mo na, ngayon, parang, you look close eh. 30 social media post. Walang masyadong, ah, walang masyadong engagement, walang masyadong reaction, walang ganap. Okay. So yung 30 social media posts, hindi siya masyadong aligned sa target market mo nung tinignan mo siya. Okay. So what's next? Based sa output na yun, mag-a-adjust ka ngayon ng content. Ginawa mo siyang mas relatable. Ang ginawa mo mas relatable and probably like appealing or probably like uh, thought-provoking content na napansin mo, uy, nag-generate ng 15% na increase sa engagement. Now, alam mo na gumagana ngayon yung ginagawa. So that's how you leverage feedback loop. So you set the tracking, tama? Okay. Pagka-set mo ng tracking, input, process, and then you'll get an output, and then ikot mo ulit siya. So leverage mo lang yung feedback loop. So you're getting a positive outlook, positive feedback loop, do more of it. So parang negative yung mga output mo, do less of that. And then mag-input ka ng panibagong process or mag-input ka ng panibagong ganap. Basically that, yun yung making a feedback loop as your ally instead of your enemy. And then number 7, medyo mabigat to. Poor offer communication skills. Ngayon alam mo na yung problema ng market mo, naka-align ka na sa revenue line. Okay, alam mo na kung ano yung focus mo. Alam mo na yung metrics mo at nale-leverage mo sa feedback loop. Dito commonly nasisira yung lahat. Dito sumasabay. Okay. Yung tinatawag natin na poor communication, offer communication. Kasi nga, walang malakas na closing skill sa tagilid ng offer. And I can attest to this. Kasi I've been a sales closer since 2021. Dahil mali yung pagko-communicate ko offer, ng offer ko, hindi ako nakakabenta. Kahit na ang galing ko sa NLP, kahit na ang galing ko sa, sa hypnosis, hindi siya nag-work. It's because I'm communicating it wrong. Okay. And then walang malakas na team. Ito medyo masakit to eh. Walang malakas na team, walang swabing fulfillment, at walang magandang process sa offer na di tinanggap. Again, walang malakas na team, walang swabing fulfillment, at walang magandang process sa offer na di tinanggap ng market. Okay. Kasi ang kumbaga, biggest trigger when it comes to business transaction and business relationship is an offer accepted. Tinanggap ba nila yung ino-offer mo? The moment na tinanggap nila, rolling na yung relationship, rolling na yung business. Pero kapag kayong offer, hindi nila tinanggap, walang kwenta yan. Okay. Even if pareho kayo ng ino-offer, like Facebook ads, yung, yung isa kukunin, yung isa hindi. Bakit? Eh, same lang din naman yung skill, di ba? Ang sagot no, nasa offer. Pareho kong SMM, yung isa mas mahal, yung isa mas mura. And kahit na mas mahal yung isa, pero solid yung offer, solid yung pagkakapackage, solid yung communication, mas kukunin nila yung mahal. Tapos iiyak mas mura. Kasi wala yan sa presyo. Okay. Kung ang value ng offer mo ay nasa presyo, ang labanan mo dyan lagi, price war. Ibig sabihin, bababa, 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 bababa. Now, okay lang naman kung tolerable siya for you. Ang problem lang noon, magsasuffer si business mo. Kasi liliit na liliit, ninipis na ninipis yung profit margin mo to a point na you're just doing the heavy load without earning anything. So huwag ka makipaglabanan sa presyo. Pagka may pareho ko ng service, hindi mo makukuha yung deal kahit pa ibaba mo na ibaba. Yung tipong paluging presyo. Parang cost of cost of doing the service is 30,000 tapos ang benta mo 25 para lang makakuha ka ng client. And not a good move. Again, not a good move. Okay. So, ano yung solution? Di ba mas pupunta yung tao sa mas mura? Nope. pupunta yung mga tao sa mas sulit. When I say sulit, ito, favorite ko to eh. Tanong to ni Bimbi dun sa isang commercial nila Chris Aquino sa, I don't know, like Nido yata. So sabi niya, like, ay, what's sulit? And then, sabi ni Chris, well, it's basically getting more than what you paid for. Mhm. Yeah, some may say na, ano, oh, corruption yan kasi you're getting more than what you pay for. Hear me out. Okay. Bigyan ka ng example. Okay. Ito sa mga may aircon na. So, sobrang init ngayon, mas makakamura ka kung hindi ka na mag-aircon. Again, mas makakamura ka ng bayad sa kuryente kung hindi ka na mag-aircon. Pero bakit mas okay na mag-aircon ngayon? Yes, sobrang init. Kasi mas mura yung electric bill na babayaran kaysa heat stroke at saka hospital. Basically, you're paying for the aircon to get that savings from heat stroke at saka hospitalization. Kumbaga, mas mura yung additional na 5 pa yung 5K sa Meralco na pwedeng abutin ng 3 to 4 months, so probably like 15K to 20K na extra, kaysa one-time stroke, tapos mako-confine ka pa, tapos hindi ka na makakapag-work after. Kasi nga, paralyzed na yung half of your body. Example lang yan. See? See kung how we built the value of opting to using your air conditioner and then how we communicated it. Now, sa may say na, hindi na makaka-relate kasi wala namang aircon dyan eh. I hear you and let me tell you this. If, kung ito yung gagamitin mong reason sa analogy, pwede natin yung i-translate into freelancing. Basically, it just means wala silang aircon, hindi sila yung target market. That's it. Yun lang yung basic analogy lang. So, ang tanong ngayon is, Mel, paano ko makukuha yung deal or paano nila magugustuhan yung deal ng, nang hindi ako nagbababa ng presyo? Kasi hindi lang lowering your rate ang paraan para makakuha ng deal, para makapag-close ng deal. Basically, it's this. Number one is increase the value. Second is communicate. Kapag ka nagawa mo, pagka na-increase mo yung value, sabihin, the nearer it is from the revenue line, the bigger the impact sa business nila, and then na ako communicate mo yung impact na yan, you won't only transition na magiging specialist. Hindi ka makaka-transition lang. Okay? You can position yourself as a premium service provider. And then, also, kasabay din nun, you can expedite your learning. Mapapabilis mo yung learning mo. Kasi nga, alam mo yung target mo, alam mo yung impact ng offer mo, at most importantly, alam mo kung paano i-communicate yung impact ng offer mo, yung offer mo mismo. So, if you want to create, so, kung gusto mo makapag-create ng solid na offer, kung lito ka pa rin, gusto mo mag-solidify ng offer mo kung existing client ka na at may existing offer ka na, or gusto mo lang maging, kagaya ko, like a sales closer for solid and high ticket offers, I'd like to invite you sa revenue aligned intensive, revenue aligned offer intensive. So, what's inside? Ano yung makukuha mo dito sa loob? What you'll learn is, paano mag-clearly map out ng transformation that you're offering to your market. Next is how to identify yung totoong problem na may pain na na-experience yung client mo, they want to solve it. And then, what are the costs of not solving or keeping the problem? Another na you'll be getting inside is you can clearly define the value that your market is willing to pay for. Hindi yung valuable sa'yo. Hindi yung valuable sa market mo na willing silang bayaran ka. Then, how to align your value, yung offer, paano mo i-align yung offer mo sa revenue line? Paano mo ipapakita sa kanila yung bleeding points ng business nila? Paano mo malalaman yung X factor, yung only metrics that really matters? Ano i-focus mo para makapag-generate ng highest possible impact or influence sa business ng kliyente? Paano may kaklarify yung non-negotiable? Again, not offer are created the same, not all offer are paid the same. And at the same time, kailangan mo ring i-clarify ano yung mga non-negotiables. Kasi if you compromise your non-negotiables, it will impact the results that you'll be generating for them, which your client don't want to happen. Most likely ikaw, ayaw mo din mangyari na mag-fail yung mga campaigns or mag-fail yung ginagawa mo. Kasi nga, specialist ka. And then, paano mag-create ng 3-step framework para mabilis mo ma-explain nang walang mapalabok na salita yung in-offer mo sa kanila. Paano mag-create ng ROI calculator. This is a game changer, by the way. Kasi si ROI calculator, this help my consulting clients kung paano mag-close from 3 months na mataas yung fall off ng client into closing 6 months to 1 year in just one presentation. And then, probably kaya lang, ito lang just a caveat, probably hindi ito nag-apply sa lahat. Kasi may ibang mga offers na hindi naman sa hindi sila line of the revenue line, it's like iba lang yung point of impact nila. Okay. And then, run your offer. Iraran natin yung offer mo sa tinatawag ko na value offer checklist para makita natin kung ano pa yung room for improvement mo bago mo siya ilabas. Okay, so if you're interested, become a revenue-aligned offer maker, join here. So you can click this link, and then it will show you kung ano yung pinakalaman ng entire program, this intensive. So yeah, hope you learned something from this, and see you sa susunod na ganap natin. Cheers.